So we should vote if we want to follow Robert's Rules of Order for small boards, which basically the difference is for small board is that the board chair may participate in discussions and voting, and that there is no need for a second, which is kind of cool. Something a little shorter for me if you haven't known that. Basically, the two differences for small boards. So would someone like to make a motion that we follow Robert's Rules of Order for small boards?
Also move.
Okay, and we only need the first, we don't need a second? Oh, no, we're not following the rules yet, so I guess we do need a second for this vote.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Jack, so Mark, motion to have Robert's Rules of Order for small boards, and Jackie seconded that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're gonna say nay? Okay, well, then we have to take a roll call, which Jackie?
Jackie Antonovich,
Yep, Jackie Antonovich.
yay.
Okay, Mark Ingham.
Aye.
Mark Youngman is an aye. Ann Redmond, aye.
Tina Turner, aye.
Paul Gaffney, nay.
So that passed 4-1. So we will be following Robert's Rules of Order for small boards. Up next, we have the approval of the minutes from June 6th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve them? Thank you. James, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous to approve those minutes. And then we also have the minutes from our July 12th retreat meeting. And I just had one tiny little change. I realized that Jackie's name is twice in the present list. So,
I ate enough for 2 people.
super present. So Becky, if you can just let Lori know to change that, I think she has those minutes. Do you mind letting her know that when you send in the new minutes? You can give a thumbs up.
Yeah, I can do that. I just was admitted.
The meeting was called to order at what time? She'd need to know that.
The meeting was called to order at 6:40. And then we did the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I think you were here for the rest of it. Okay. Do we have any public participation? Okay, none. First up, the next up is the administrative report. Brian?
Hello, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
So I have my report. So I'm going to start off with our teen camp, which was pretty amazing. And so we had 34 students that registered. And then on average, we had 21 students that showed up daily. And some students had vacations planned, sicknesses, something else came up, which was fine, but it was a good solid 21 on average daily. I know the students had a lot of fun. The staff really enjoyed it. The staff that currently did it is already starting to plan. They have some ideas, so we're going to set up a meeting. So while it's still hot, we're talking about it a little bit more and see how we can improve it and move forward with it next year. Leanna, did you want to add anything? Because I know you're out there before I turn it over to Abby to present.
No, that was good. Thank you.
But the team that was there, we had Tara Smith, we had Leanna Robinson, we had Krista Sorrell, and then we had Victoria Moeller. Someone called her Monique the other day, and I was like, that's what it sucks. So Victoria. So Tori Moeller from Windsor. So it was a really good team of teachers, and they were very energetic and excited about it. And it was nice to see the kids coming off the bus if they went to Summer Academy, which we just finished too. That ran simultaneously with that as well. and see those kids come in and be super excited and talk to them in the morning about Summer Academy, and then those that went to STEAM camp. So I think it was a good time for all. And I think they learned a few things. And Abigail, who is one of our amazing 8th graders this year, she is going to present. So she used a whole new program because she wanted a challenge, which I appreciate, which I think is awesome that she did that. So hold on, let me get. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties there. So let me get where I can present hers. And all right, you want to talk for a minute, Abby, or you want to just show it? No pressure here, Abby, at all.
It's mainly about what we did, and it goes in days. And the past, and at the end, it's talking about the stations. And you'll see that it talks about what everybody's favorite things that we did were, and what we would like to see next year, if it doesn't play out like that.
Very cool. Okay. Well, let's watch the video, which I'm amazed because I've never used this program before. So she's going to show me how to use it. And then if we have questions for Abby afterwards, we can answer, or she can answer. It's buffering, so give it a second.
Good sound.
Is there sound to it too, Abby?
There.
Okay. Yeah, Abby, I'm going to put you on the spot again while it's buffering. You want to tell us what you, so day 1 and 2, you want to give us a breakdown of that because we saw some great pictures.
Day 1 and 2, day 1 was we did sailboats, and the 2 was paddle boats. So we made propellers on paddle boats, and they made it go forward and forward. And the sailboats, they were the
It was great the first day. So they're all the kids are out here with hammers and nails and sawing and sandpaper. And I know one particular student went home and sanded things at home as well, as mom told me. So it was great just to see our kids doing some hands-on items and just really working with their hands and just enjoying themselves, which was great. So it was pretty fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a break for a second and then we go. Okay, explain that to us right there.
So 5 and 6 was mazes, and we had straws that you could cut and make it go through the maze because it vibrated, so it made it move through the maze, and it was very fun. And that was one of my favorites.
Okay, do you want to explain the domino part? What you guys did?
So we had a bunch of tools to help knock all of them down. And you could like make different patterns and spell things out. And I think that's also been the greatest.
And you guys took it into the gym, right? And used the gym space, so you guys had
Yeah.
more floor space. So literally the gym was the limit of what you guys could do. That's awesome. And then you guys are doing the drawbots here, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Brad, I missed the part with the Pringles. Explain that to me, what you guys did with Pringles.
It's a challenge.
Because I usually just eat Pringles.
It's a challenge. You can see it on YouTube and other platforms like that, but it's, so you have to build a ring. It was really hard to do, but yeah, eventually I gave up because it just kept falling down and you had to like stack it and critique it and all sorts of ways.
So would you do this again next year?
Definitely.
Definitely. So as an eighth grader who will be moving on to high school, you'll come back and help out with STEAM camp?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. Okay. Did you guys have any questions for Abby about STEAM camp?
What was your favorite part of this meeting?
The dominoes were really fun.
Do you have a question, Becker?
Yeah.
Can you give your name for Becky?
Eric, Eagleson, Amistad.
Oh, okay.
Olivia, a child with the long, beard. What on earth is she doing?
It was slime. It was slime because it reacts and stuff.
Yes, what was it? It's like bugs, like,
They're little styrofoam colored balls.
Okay.
Like you get them at.
For the life of me, I should know this, I'm drawing a blank. STEAM, science, technology, I can't remember what the E is for, art and math.
I think it's engineering, arts, and math.
Yep, so it's STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math,
Okay,
mathematics. A lot of times it's just STEM, but what a difference the A makes. So that's why I always make sure we have the A in there because the arts is so important.
I agree.
Most people forget about the A, not the E, so that's okay. I like that. So, and what's great about that too is we have several students now that showed up every day or most days to STEAM camp. And so we're tying in with our makerspace. We're gonna have experts on some of these fields that each classroom should have an expert in there to be able to help out Mrs. Smith or the teacher that's in there using that makerspace area to show them some of the different things they can do. So what an awesome way to empower our students and let them show our voice of choice. I like how at the end, how you guys shared what you guys liked about STEAM camp and also what you guys would like to see, because there's always ways to improve something. We're always looking to make things better. So thank you very much, Abby, for being there. And it was great having the students all the way from current or from kindergartners all the way to seventh graders, from now first graders to eighth graders. So it was a wide range, so you had to make things and adjust things on the fly to make sure that they were able to adapt to those students. So great job for those teachers that were there. Thank you for the students that were there and for presenting tonight too, Abby. So it's hard to come up and do that, especially when your principal puts you on the spot and asks you even more questions. So thank you very much.
I'd like to also thank you, Brian, for putting this together. I know the board has tasked you with this and you did an awesome job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I'm here, is I want to keep doing stuff like this, and I'm already going through my head, like I said, with tons of ideas for next year, and I already have 3 teachers hired on. So hopefully we're doing it again next year. So let me get back in there. All right. I'm just losing. Yeah. Just- Hold on, give me a second. I apologize. I need new glasses too. Thank you, Abby. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. I know, huh? I minimized the tabs so I didn't have so many tabs open. I just had. All right, let me get back to my report now. Presentation. There. Okay. And then I love this part about it because I get to turn it over to Meg. This makes my report easy, man. So we have Jamie Richardson, who's our amazing PTO president, and she's here to share some information. You can talk wherever you want to. Information about our upcoming year and some fundraising ideas, and she's here.
So again, I'm Jamie Richardson, PTO president. We have Meredith Kelly, who's my vice president on the PTO here as well. So hopefully we can answer any questions that you have, but we've had our first meeting of the year, just on the first week of August, because we wanted to be prepared for tonight and we want to be able to back into as much planning as we can. We had a wonderful year, as I presented a couple of months ago, and so we want to capitalize on the momentum of that year, do some of the same things that we did last year, but also do some of the extra things we didn't have time for or we were dreaming of in the middle of all the other things. So we were made aware of the calendar for the school year for the Wethersfield School. So a lot of what we're doing is supporting those events that are already going to be happening by the school. So things like the back to school or open house or any kind of Wethersfield Talent or any theater productions or anything like that. You'll see us present if we're allowed, either out bringing water or just physical labor in some cases, stringing lights, whatever might be the case, whatever BJ needs, we're here for. So all of those kind of things are going to be happening for us as well. But we do have a couple major fundraisers that we want to bring to your attention today, and hopefully we have your support on those. One thing that's actually already started, you may have seen, is that we've opened our, we call it our 365 store. It's a new apparel store. So we have over 200 items on that. It's an online store open 365 days a year. We have traditional logos and then some really kind of fun spirit wear. There were some of us that wanted sweatpants or flip-flops or baby wear or whatever it might be. And so the way to be able to do that and to offer it, because we were having some buyers or non-buyers remorse right after we would do our orders. Some of us are upset because we didn't get a t-shirt or whatever. I mean, we all have, we all kind of wished we had purchased more. So a lot of our local schools, Springfield, Windsor, they're participating in this program as well. So a lot of our spirit wear is similar to those other athletic programs. Ours is really school-wide. Those are mostly athletics. But anyway, over 200 items are on this store. We can certainly get the link to you, but if you have social media, we've posted it on Facebook. We're going to start putting information in newsletters. So there'll be ways of getting information out. But if you're curious about it and you have time, because there are many, many pages, all kinds of different designs, go ahead and search our Facebook page and those will be on there. So that one's already launched maybe 2 days ago, maybe. So it's a brand new thing for us, but it will run all year long. That doesn't mean that we won't also offer some holiday apparel shopping that is a little bit more affordable. Some of the benefit to the 365 store is that it is available all the time and it has quick turnaround, quick shipping, but it's a little bit more costly. We want to be mindful of that. Sometimes people don't need the sweatpants and the flip-flops and the baby wear and the dog bandana. They just want a t-shirt or something that costs, $15 versus $30. So we'll be doing some work with more local companies that we've used in the past during the holiday season like we have in the past as well. So stay tuned for more of that. Lots of merch all the time. We want everybody to be wearing something Weathersfield or have the opportunity to have it. So we're going to purchase a little bit, some extra items, so we'll have them on hand so that things will be available. They won't be customized, but they'll be available. Maybe at some of these open houses or things like that. Yes.
So just to reiterate that too, another school within our SU that likes to follow suit with us, Heartland, because my wife works there now. And so she ordered stuff and she got it within a week.
Yep.
And she got it last night and the quality's great. It looks fantastic. So
Good.
I just want socks. Okay, I haven't seen
But
that.
there's flip-flops.
I don't want, I don't want
sock
flip flops. I got,
Yeah.
you've seen my feet. You don't want me to wear flip flops. Trust me, socks. I need socks.
200 items and major name brands, Adidas, Under Armour, things like that. So good quality. But you do pay up a little bit for it, so I don't want there to be sticker shock to all of you. But some really cool stuff. So take a peek at it. Do a bulk buy with some friends and family, and avoid the shipping costs. We're all used to Amazon, right? Free shipping. So things like that, or we're talking about doing a group shopping trip as well, so we can only pay shipping once. But anyway, it's a fundraiser for us. We make $5 per item that comes out of those orders, so it could be a major fundraiser for us all throughout the year. I think maybe something super fun, and Meredith, I may turn to you if I need to, or you cut me off if I get this wrong. But what we're hoping to do sometime at the end of September, something called a paw drop. So we have asked the fire department if they would allow us to use they really will bring it on site, their ladder truck. And we would be selling little paws that would be dropped from the bucket of a fire truck. And they would be going into these kind of bullseye or targets for different prizes. Every student would be given at least one paw so that everybody has a chance to win something. And then they would be sold at a price per paw. Family, friends, people from far away could buy them for anybody, and you'll just kind of drive. It's like a duck drop that they do in the rivers, right? A lot of places have seen that. They drop a bunch of ducks, and whichever ones get to the finish line first win prizes. We're just going to drop little panther paws from a big bucket truck in the parking lot and give away some awesome prizes: school backpacks, school supplies, gift cards, and different things that we would solicit for. We would offer food, popcorn and food and things like that. Yes, right.
Who's going to be dropping these things out of the bucket?
The principal.
Okay. All right. Want to make sure that's
But
what
it's
I
on
thought.
my list. I haven't asked.
I heard that.
Okay. Dropping the paws.
Okay, I've gotten better with lights after painting.
It's on my list of to-dos.
Okay.
You'll be
We'll
strapped
chit
in.
chat.
Make sure it's
All right.
maybe the new principal after the
Nice. Make sure my life insurance policy kicks in.
There's another school, I can't remember where it was, that did this with whatever their mascot was, and we contacted them to ask them all about logistics of how to do this and how much of a fundraiser was it, and Meredith was able to get photos, logistics, the whole 9 yards from this other school, so we have a beautiful plan for it. Is there anything else that's important?
No, it's a community event, so not just students of Weathersfield, but community. So we're incorporating the fire department, and I have a note if he's listening, to Daniels, you were invited to the paw drop. It's on my list, just to invite other folks from the community to come out and have like a great back to school night fun with us.
Looking for DJs.
We have lots of things on our list to do, but and being our first year, we hope that is there a date for it? Well,
tentatively, we'd like for it to be September 23rd. So we were hoping we would do whatever we can. The biggest part of it is that paw drop, to sell those paws, get that out. And then hopefully this would be our annual kind of spirit event that we just grow on it from here on out and keep making it better every year. But if we can nail the paw part, then that's our biggest goal.
and we hope to have some community type food offered, being mindful, trying to feed, everyone that's here, so we'll have to get creative with that. But yeah, we're in the works. But there is a bucket truck. That was the first one.
So practice your kites, work. Other things, so that's the end of September. So there are things like book fairs that we'll support in whatever way we can, or Fire Prevention Week, Diversity and Bullying Prevention Week, Red Ribbon Week. If the school decides to do any dances, then we're happy to help, come in and do those kind of things. Trunk or treat, we always have a vehicle present for that. And then we move into November where we'll have the holiday apparel sale, where we'll push that again. That was a huge fundraiser for us last year. A lot of people buy their apparel for their family or their kids. And so hopefully that will be a nice boost for us. There's the holiday food drive that we are happy to participate in. Weathersfield's Got Talent, we're happy. We're just trying to be as present as we can and as helpful as we can. We're not all about fundraising. We really just want to be here and be an extension of the school to help. December, there was an event. I don't know. I'm relatively new to the school system here, so I've never seen it, but the Make It and Take It program. So many of you probably participated in years past. It's a really big deal for the PTO or the PTA. Kids come in and they can make up to 5 different gifts for their family. Gives kids this empowerment, this opportunity to give gifts, and it's all for free. So we use our fundraising dollars to pay for all those things. We get support from, say, Home Depot and places like that. And we're hoping to build on that event and also create some sort of a vendor fair that the adults could go to while the kids are making the gifts for the adults, because what kind of a surprise is it if you're standing over your child while they're making the gifts? So we'll be doing Make It and Take It again this year. And that's on a Sunday, December 4th. Then we all enjoy the holidays and we go into the new year. And we'll participate in things like the high school fair and lunch with loved ones. I don't know if that's been talked about. I don't want to spill any beans, but we'll be here doing
Okay.
things. Again, we're hoping to support any dances that might happen. We've heard there might be some interest in doing dances, just so that kiddos can get back in here. The 8th graders had a really good time at their dance last year. So if student council wants to do it, they can do it. But if they don't, then the PTO is happy to support those. We'll do something for the 100th day. I think it was the 100th day when we remembered it was the 100th day last year and said, well, we can't really back into that one. So whatever day that lands on, we'd love to do something fun with the teachers and the kiddos. Then we move into March and it's Read Across America Month. So we'd like to do something called First Book. It's a program where we can buy books at a significant discount and really just pay for shipping on those books of all varieties of all ages and be able to offer them free to every single student in the school. So we're going to buy up so we can have multiple years worth of books because the cost should be so low. We're talking, $400 for 1,000 books. And they, again, all ages. So we can supply the kindergartners when they do Panther Cub Night and things like that. So we can just get, literacy is important to this PTO. And so we want to do our part with programs like that offer those kind of discounts to us. So March also launches our March Madness calendar. So as you remember last year, one of our biggest fundraisers again was offering the calendar raffle. So we'll do the same thing as we did last year. We'll have all the days in March have some sort of great raffle prize, and we'll sell tickets for those for the calendar. So just like last year. So that'll go for the entire month of March. Moving into April, we'll participate. We'll support the any kind of testing that might be starting. It's like the dreaded time of year when all the testing starts. Last year we made testing kits and we learned a lot about how we can do those better and better support the kids and teachers with those little fidgets and bubble gum and things like that. So we'll be doing those, but even better this year. And probably our largest fundraising idea that we have will come sometime in April. And we want to do an adult comedy night, which it's something that has been done by, I guess it's PTO in Springfield years ago. It was an enormous fundraiser for them. And it is an adult experience, but it's a huge fundraiser for the PTO. We have a dream of providing a rather costly gift to the school. And we want to use this as our annual fundraiser to build a large amount of dollars that will go towards a particular project. And just spoiler alert, we're hoping to do some kind of a digital or electric sign here in front of the school. With support from all of you guys, of course, and we're certainly not asking for that's very premature to even talk about, but it's extremely costly. So we would need to do something that would build funds probably over the course of maybe a couple of large fundraisers, bigger than some of these smaller ones that we have planned. But there would be raffles and silent auctions and big ticket prices. And so it's a pretty major event that would not be held here at the school. It would need to be held somewhere larger. It would also play host to an adult themed evening. So there would be a lot of comedy, a lot of fun, food and beverage. So a little bit more to come on that. We have a committee working on that. We're hoping that to be really huge for us. It's something we do annually and something that's been done locally very successful. Anything more that you want to add on that one? No?
List is long enough.
Yes, it is, a big one. So then we move into May, and that's more testing, but that's also Staff Appreciation Week. So we really enjoyed doing that last year, decorating doors and giving food and gifts to all of our staff, celebrating them differently each day. Food truck on Friday. We don't have our plan or our theme yet this year, but we absolutely have it on the calendar. So that would be the 1st through the 5th of May. Then things like Panther Come Night and our spring book fair, maybe a spring drama production, and any kind of school showcase that may happen at the end of the school year. We'll be present and participate in any way that you'd like us to. Then we're in June and the year is nearly over. So we'll be helping with the 8th grade dance again if you need us to, and during field day and participating in graduation and all of those end of year events. So we're hoping to be present. So something that I didn't mention that encompasses all 3 seasons that's important to us, but we haven't quite figured out the logistics yet, is our booster booth. So as many of you ate as many hot dogs as you could last year and popcorn. It was a huge responsibility for us. It was, in our opinion, wildly successful. So much so that we've been given the amazing gift of space to now store our things down the hall. So that we can, do things a little bit better. But the booster booth we're hoping will be for all seasons of athletics, but to be more discussed with the new athletic director. But we're hoping that will just continue on at every opportunity at hand. Anyone have any questions about any of those things? Yeah, it's going to be busy, but we're psyched. We're a small group, but we are dedicated and we're excited to be around. I put this pledge out this wish out to anyone is we're always looking for volunteers. If you think you can't commit to all of this, I know that sounds like a lot. There's smaller committee work or single event work or a booster booth that you could run once. It's very easy. So if you have any interest, you can reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to entertain whatever you're willing to give us. If you have a skill or a talent or something, just let us know.
For item for
fundraiser,
fundraiser, raffle, I'll take it.
Meredith will collect
I'll
it. So.
make a whole thing out of it. Yeah.
But we're very, very thankful for your support. We're super excited to start the year. So let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jamie and Meredith, for coming here and talking about it. And you guys have been working hard all summer to get prepared for the school year, so we appreciate that. And we will have a calendar of events.
Yes.
We're running it by the staff as well, make sure we can just tweak out anything else that needs to be done in there and get some last minute input. We could have a committee that came together to look at our calendar of events and add items that we want to, because we're hoping to have a quote unquote extraordinary year, not just a normal year of school, but an extraordinary year of school, and add as many events as possible for our students and our community. So we'll be getting that out to you guys as well. All right, go back to share. All right, so staffing update. So there's still a couple positions out there. We're still in need of one paraprofessional, and we're in need of an athletic director, assistant athletic director. We had a couple people that applied, and then, yeah, it didn't happen. So we're working on that still, so we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. That's a deep sigh for me, by the way. All right, leader and me. So awesome. We're super excited. So tomorrow our Lighthouse team is meeting with Barbara Littner, our coach, again. And so we're going over some of the things, our next steps, how to set up our big wig for the year, which is our wildly important goal for the year. So that'll be on display when you walk into the school, so everybody can see what our wig is, and it reminds us each and every day of what it is. The team's excited to move forward on it. We had some admin time yesterday with Barbara, and then she was at Heartland today, and we'll be working with Windsor on Thursday. So it's great to continue to get give our students a voice and choice. And then also in tying in with Leader and Me, all of our kids this year are going to have an opportunity for a morning meeting in their classroom. So grades K through 5 will be in their classroom. And then in grades 6 through 8, they actually have an advisory period where they'll be getting Leader and Me information as well as other things to prepare them for after Weathersfield. So I just wanted to give a little staff shout out to our amazing crew. So Brian, Kelly, Kathy, and Joe for all their hard work to get our school ready to go for our students, staff, and community. They've been working hard today. Because they had that extra challenge this year of having STEAM camp here for 4 weeks. So this room's not quite done yet. And then I had to say, we have a board meeting. So they're like, all right. So they had to go and focus on something else to get it done. And then plus with having to deal with things like new carpeting being put in and, you know, the computer lab being torn out to be able to make into the makerspace. So they've had lots of obstacles to overcome this year. And they are amazing in getting it done and getting it ready for our kids to be here and our community to be here before school starts. So I just got back from our VPA conference, which was August 2nd through 4th. It was a great opportunity to synergize with other educational leaders across the state. And we're all working together to make our students better. And it was nice always to meet with our team right here within our supervisory union, but to also branch out and meet other people and see what they're doing. Went through a really great one from Franklin Covey, Angie and I did, about the
Speed of trust.
Speed of trust, thank you. Lost for words there. Speed of trust, which is great, which ties in also in with Leader and Me as well. So it was an opportunity to extend our learning for that. School projects, carpeting, you guys saw that going on in the office. Classrooms have been moved because I like to have people shifted a little bit differently. And as we grew, we had to move some people around. So the crew's been doing that. Our makerspace is in progress. Library is getting an overhaul as well, new carpeting. One of the bookshelves has been cut down. They got a permanent Promethean board in there. Summer clean out. We've gotten rid of some stuff that we needed to get rid of. I like to clean stuff out, including that big shed right there that was here for COVID. So that's going away. It is empty. We're just waiting for them to pick it up. And we're just repurposing some things in some other areas as well to make it a little bit more efficient and work for it. And so there's lots of things going on as far as that entails as well. Middle school model. So did a little bit different this year, as I was mentioned advisory class before a few minutes ago. So the students will, in grades 6 through 8, they're all going to have that advisory class, which is from 8:05 to 8:35. And the great thing about that is it's going to be mixed. So they could be 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders. And there's sort of an equal balance of all the kids in there so that they have a mixture class. And that's where they're going to go over Leader and Me. They're going to be talking about high school and what comes next after Weathersfield. They're also going to be talking about the personalized learning plan. And they'll just be going over also Common Sense Media, which is internet safety and how to use the internet safely and how you don't have, you have a footprint when you put it out there. So those are some of the things that they're going to highlight. And so that core group will be together in the morning all year long. And then the thought is that if you have a 6th grader and say you have Mr. Santangelo as the 6th grader, you also have Mr. Santangelo as the 7th grader and as the 8th grader. So he truly becomes your advisor as you're going through Weathersfield through the steps. And then the other thing that we're doing with the classes that we could do this with, which 7th and 8th grade, is we're mixing the students up within their pods as much as possible. So instead of going to the same 15 kids to 1st period, 2nd period, 3rd period, and so on, they could have the same kids in 1st period, but then they're going to have a different group of 7th graders in 2nd period. And then they could have some other kids in 3rd. So there's truly a mixture of all of our students to prepare them a little bit more for high school. And because that's what they're going to expect when they get to high school. And so that they're not with the same kids all day long. Because when I talked to some of the 8th graders, that was their thing. As much as they loved their class and they were a tight-knit group, they've been to school with all the same kids and they see each other all day long for the last 9 years. So to mix it up a little bit to give them a little bit of variety. So 6th grade we couldn't do that with because we just have one class, but they have the advisory period. So it gives them the opportunity to at least have some different faces that they'll see throughout the day as well.
How does that period work out with the algebra?
So the algebra kids will miss that period, unfortunately. So, but they'll be stepping in right at the end of 1st period because of that travel time and everything else. So it helps out. So they'll tie into the end of 1st period and then go on to their 2nd period class. So then we also have one student that's going to be missing wind time in the afternoon. So we shorten wind time because we have a student that's going to geometry at Windsor as well. So building community, our monthly conversations with Chief Spalding regarding fire safety. We met with Brandon about getting a generator using ARPA funds. So here for the school. So if we need to use this as an emergency site so that we can use those ARPA funds. So they're working on that process to get us a backup generator for the school. And then meeting again with Chief Daniels and Chief Spalding regarding school safety and what their plan is and how to make sure that their plan and our plan all match. And then upcoming events, got a few coming up. We got new teacher orientation on the 24th, which we have three teachers. They're all experienced teachers, but they're new to Weathersfield. Teacher prep day the 25th. Our WSESU welcome back is on the 26th, the Friday. Building-based day on the 29th, and we have our back-to-school night and a community dinner that night as well. And then we have another building-based day and our leader and week training for the entire school on that should say the 30th. Typo there. And then the first day of school, Wednesday, October 31st. A lot of things going on. It's August and school's starting. And that is it for me. And so then I'm gonna turn it over to Angie to go over.
I'll just present them.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I can do it right there. Yep,
Okay.
just tell me when you're ready.
I can say next slide.
Yep.
So, Christine couldn't be here tonight because we had conflicting board meetings. So she is in our Heartland Community Board meeting. And so I'm here tonight to present the thoughts she wanted to share with you all. So, I'm not sure if this is from last time. I thought we had shared it before, but when, the ad team met and started working on our vision and mission, statements, and part of that was to identify our values. And this Wordle is what we came up with. And the bigger the word means, the more often it showed up as we shared around the team. So that represents, like, I think 12 of us were around the table, and that's what we came up with. Next slide, please. So here we are doing the visioning work. We broke up into teams. And I think the next slide shows you what we ended up doing, just talking about what to visually represent what we want our vision to emphasize. So,
And I really am working there.
there's no umbrella drink there. So the three teams, we just drafted our idea of what we thought our vision needed to encompass. And you'll notice a few of the things that came up for us that was really important is be the voice. All of us used be the voice, which is our Portrait of Graduate slogan. And we ultimately decided the third one really captured our aspirations, and the words at the top are the concepts that, that seem to capture our values as educators as well. It's an interesting exercise to go from the text idea to the visual idea, and it brings out a deeper understanding of what we're trying to do. Next slide, please. And then these are just some nuts and bolts. The DEI position has been posted. We have 4 interviews. Very excited. They start tomorrow. We have 2 tomorrow night and 2 the following night. We have a number of community members and some staff that are going to be interviewing these candidates. The building maintenance projects are on track for the opening of school. The FY22 business office audit is underway, and that will be completed next month. Summer Academy ended, as Brian said, last Friday on the 5th with a big celebration of the kids had a lunch outside and then a popsicle event, and pictures were taken, and it was a good day. Ad team is meeting regularly. We have meetings throughout the month, and like Brian said, we met yesterday for a full day in service with our coach, and we are starting a book study on universal design for learning. Christine will probably talk more about that next. So I think that's it.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Nancy or Brian? Okay, we'll move on then to our items for discussion. And first up, we have our state representative, John Arison, here to talk about the legislative updates that we received and I guess answer any questions that we might have on it.
Would it be better if I stood at the podium?
I can hear you well, and I think it's fine.
Okay. Well, I've been standing all day at the poll, so if I sit down, forgive me. First of all, thank you. And I want to say thank you to the PTO. That was a very ambitious schedule. What do you do in your spare time?
We're parents. We're parents.
And I commend the school for starting a STEAM program. I think you'll find the kids that are in the lower levels that are starting early, I think you'll find it amazing as you see the kids come up through, and they'll carry this right through grade 12, which is really nice. And tying it into the legislative work, one of the Governor Scott's and the legislature's primary focuses in the last year was workforce development, and STEAM ties into that beautifully. And because all you can do is pick up paper any day, and we just don't have the workers that we need. So the STEM program, STEAM, fits in perfectly. Of course, the other major emphasis that probably you're finding with some of your recruitment is housing and how tight it is. That is not going to get solved overnight by any stretch of the imagination. We're hearing it all over the place. It's in the paper quite often that people are turning down jobs, including in state government in Montpelier, because it's just, where am I going to stay? Or there's a house for sale, but it's way out of my price range. To start with the work that was done in the education committee this year, I'm going to back up to the work that was done the previous year and the bill, the facilities bill. There were components in that I think were important to Weathersfield. I remember Dr. Baker said that they were formulating a radon test plan for all the district schools. So hopefully that is progressing. The deadline for getting it done was pushed out another year. Legislature is famous for that. They set unrealistic goals, and the very next year they throw them out the window and extend them out. The one that shouldn't affect Weathersfield, but keyword shouldn't, is the PCB testing. And I saw the list, and Weathersfield is way down on the list to be tested because the facility is newer than most. They're starting with the schools that are the oldest. But when you stop and think, who would have thought we'd end up with any kind of lead issue here? So hopefully when they come in and do the testing, we're clean. The plan right now, that when the bill came out from last year, the Senate's the one that added both those components, and there was no money. And the radon's on the school, and to be quite honest with you, it's not that expensive, and the remedy isn't too terribly expensive. Easy for me to say. But the PCB issue, all you can do is keep your fingers crossed. Not so much in Weathersfield. I'm relatively confident that we'll come out clean, but it could be absolutely monstrous for the state. I mean, all you have to do is follow Burlington. They're tearing this school down because of PCBs. So, and there's a lot of schools that were built in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s, and PCB was used extensively as caulking, as adhesive. Anything that required elasticity, there's PCBs in it. So keep your fingers crossed. But and this year there was money put into the for remedies with priorities given, and the testimony on how the testing would progress was, and I don't like this, so I'll tell you right now, you can go in that room, but don't stay in there too long. You know, I don't think if let's say, I envision as soon as the school comes out with any kind of PCB level, parents are not going to be happy and they're not going to accept. You can go in that room, but don't stay there too long. Or you can stay in there to lunch and then you got to get out of there. I don't think that's going to go over to the public at all. So anyway, this could be absolutely incredibly expensive. My comment was we better buy a lot of school buses because I think we're going to end up carting kids out of their district into another area. So that's kind of a recap on the facilities built from last year and where we're at now. Has Dr. Baker mentioned anything? Because the radon testing has to be done in the winter. And nothing? Okay.
No.
You may want to follow up on that just to make sure that we don't miss the deadline. You got to do it, so why not get it done and find out? Radon comes out of the earth. It's a decay product called basically granite. I'll tell you, the State House has got all kinds of fans that suck, change the air. And it's that simple. Do we have any ventilation projects that are not complete?
No,
Yes or no?
no. Well,
Okay.
well, we're adding to, what do they call
Air handling.
the air conditioner heater
Oh.
in the music room and
Yeah.
and the art room, but those are, I mean,
Heat pumps don't provide ventilation, but anyway, that's beside the point.
yeah.
It's still, the reason I mentioned whether we had any projects ongoing, because any school that does have a project, I think Hartman has a project, but I'm not sure if they've gotten it started or not, the supply issues. And what else is new? So,
We have been told that Weathersfield's ventilation is very good.
Yeah, because we do have,
I
our-
think,
Yeah.
well,
yeah, we do
it's-
have our air exchange.
I'm gonna use the word new.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the state of Vermont's concerned, this is one of your newer facilities. There's not a lot of schools that have been built after this one. I think one, I can't think of any. As far as what we accomplished in the last year, or this year, the Secretary French, so much as said, we got a lot on our plate, meaning AOE. Don't go adding new initiatives this year, please. And he had an op-ed in the local papers, if anybody saw it, that listed all the things that are ongoing that he felt were all very positive. And he just didn't, AOE is short on staff, just like everybody else. So they don't have the staff to take on any new projects that seemed like a good idea at the time. So I think we're in the coming year, you're going to almost get the same message. Two projects or bills that the Education Committee worked extensively on this year don't affect us at all. But I still want to recap them. We spent an enormous amount of time bringing in information that was scattered all over the place for forming unions and districts. And now it's all in one place. Do you have the green book? Dr. Baker does. It's every rule that you're going to adhere to. So
Oh, the
you really
Vermont
should take
Education,
it
yeah,
home.
I do have that. Yeah.
Yeah, for bedtime reading.
Yes, I do.
There'll be a
It's on my
test.
nightstand right
There'll be a
now.
test later.
Okay, good.
So that took up a lot of committee time because there's several districts that are trying to dissolve. There was an article in there today. Moncton, Stockborough and it all revolves around the small schools that don't want to lose their building. I understand that, but you have to look at the economy on scale to a certain extent. And our committee ranking members and myself spent quite a bit of time fashioning language which would allow the districts that were in the process to complete the process, but with guardrails. So anyway, that once again doesn't affect us a bit, does it? Another bill that I'll tell you I voted against on the floor was mascotting. I don't think anybody's going to find any objection to the Panther. The bill finally ended up going back to the State Board of Education to write guidelines, and then the school could turn around and write their own as long as they adhered to the state guidelines. And the reason I voted against it was that I felt that that was a local issue, very much a local issue. And I thought that if you allow the community to solve the problem, it would be a better result than it coming from Montpelier. From the best of my research, the only school that I could find that even had an issue was Green Mountain, because they're still using the Chieftain logo. And they're not real receptive to changing it either, which is okay. Whether or not they choose to ignore what AOE, or excuse me, the state board writes, it's up to them. There's a carrot, but there's no stick. There's no penalty if you don't do it. Some people do find it offensive that they still use the Indian logo in their gym, and they still refer to themselves as the Chieftain. I found also an issue was that Rutland they didn't want Rutland to use the word Raider, even though they dropped the Arrowhead logo. But yet St. Albans, because of the same, could use the word Raider because there was a raid there during the Civil War. Well, I just couldn't bring myself to say one school can use Raider and one can't. But there's very, very few schools that haven't taken the initiative to get rid of monikers and mascots that you might find offensive. Other than that, there really weren't a lot of bills that come out of education this year, and that's not a bad thing. We spend an enormous amount of time taking testimony. And I encourage you all, I'm looking forward. I came in for 2 days and spoke to the 4th grade, and I got to tell you, I had a ball. I really, really enjoyed it, and I was very impressed with the level of involvement and what the kids were where the thought process went. It was supposed to, it started out with how legislature worked, and they'd already been studying it. They had a pretty good idea. And in one class anyway, it evolved all the way around to slavery. I think I brought up that in November, there are 2 constitutional amendments. One that cleans up the language on slavery. Right now, the way it's worded, you technically could have a slave up to the age of 21. So, you know, when it was written, they were indentured servants, and that's the reason it's there. But the way it's worded was clumsy. So anyway, that's the first constitutional amendment. The second one is much more controversial, and that's the women's reproductive rights. That is, people have very strong opinions one way or the other. And my response is you get to vote on it in November. I can understand both sides' argument. I have my own opinion, but anyway, I'm always glad to ask questions, and I look forward to the school groups hopefully coming up to Montpelier this year and giving them a grand tour.
It'll be awesome if we can start doing that again.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have? Becky has her hand raised.
I just wanted to speak to our mascot name and just say that that was changed when Mario was the principal, Mario Bavacqua, and the students, just for everybody that doesn't know that, voted and picked the name we have because we did have a Native American emblem and before that. So they're the ones that picked the panther. I forget all the other choices, but just a bit of history.
That was my point. The school took care of it. And I think the schools are perfectly capable of taking care of the problem. They don't need a stick coming down from Montpelier. And you guys are way ahead of the curve.
Thanks, Becky. That was great hearing a little bit of history. We like that. Anyone else have any questions? Keep going. I guess I was wondering what your feeling is regarding the changes to the equalized pupil.
Oh, thank you. My notes are at home. That was the big one, actually.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot to mention that. I've seen the list of what school this. I don't like to use the word winners and losers, but that's exactly what it's going to be. Guess which side we're on. How bad it's going to be remains to be seen. If you have kids that fall into a poverty threshold, it's a plus. If you're rural, it's a plus. The only silver lining to it is that Chittenden County is a lot worse off than we are. But however, having seen a testimony and films of what it's like in the Northeast Kingdom, and not only the Northeast Kingdom, I mean, there was a school in Marlborough, Vermont, just, you know, not very far from Brattleboro, that looked like this place before it was renovated. It looked a lot like this place. Hot lunch was downstairs, et cetera, and so forth. So it's not, and they got some real problems. And so it's going to be implemented over 5 years in increments. So you're not going to see tremendous impacts all at once. And I was looking, I'm trying to remember what it said. I went to the Vermont Bond Bank to see when the bond was up. And you're gonna come pretty close to the end of the bond when it's completely implemented. So that's gonna be $800,000 right there. That doesn't have to be in the budget. Although I strongly encourage you to start a capital reserve for improvements.
We have a bit of one.
But there's no doubt in my mind, in the demographics of Weathersfield, and some of it is because of our school choice. We tend to gravitate people that want that. Rutland City is they're going to do really well because they have so many people that would fall into the poverty range. And one question was, well, how, since another one I almost forgot. The subsidized school lunch, free and subsidized school lunch, if that's done away with, what's going to be the parameters for people? And it's going to be a form that people have to fill out. And I know it's been like pulling hen's teeth to get people to fill the one out now. So I'm not sure exactly how you convince people that they need to divulge their income to the town and the school. That's going to be a tough one. But if they don't, it's going to have an effect.
It's always been something I've wondered about, because the state knows the income levels of every, I mean, you know, why do they need people to fill out the forms to figure that out? Why can't the state just use
That's a
the
good question. I don't know the
IRS
answer.
tax forms to figure that out?
I'm not sure when it becomes private information. It may have something to do with that. I'm not sure. And the other thing that I forgot to mention was the free school lunch or, breakfast. That will be up. That's almost $20 million that we found the money from the surplus of last year. And some of it was, that was a $90 million surplus in the ed fund. And so that's where the money came from for this free school lunch for the coming school year, breakfast. Don't count on it. When it comes from one direction, something else has to give. I'm not sure how the legislature and Ways and Means is going to find the money without having an effect somewhere else. So if we want it to continue, don't plan on the state. I'm not saying absolutely that the state won't find the money, but I think I would be thinking.
How long is it paying for now? When does
It goes through the coming school year. Yeah. And I got to tell you, one other thing, when I was with the fourth grade, I gave them bills to talk about, and both the fourth grades got basically the same thing. And one of them was should school breakfast be provided without any, the idea of free is it takes the stigma of somebody everybody knows, or when they're in line and they see anyway, to get rid of that stigma. And after I got done, one of the young men, I said to me, he said, how do you put it? He goes, I never used to eat breakfast. And I said, do you like it? Yes, very much. I said, I eat breakfast now and I study a lot better. Kind of hard to argue with that one.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else have anything for John? Good.
I just wanted to let John know that I had written a note to Christine about the radon testing to ask about it. And I don't know if you're aware that Dr. Baker has moved on to another district and Christine Bourne is our interim superintendent.
I didn't know that.
So I figured that you didn't know that. You mentioned David a couple times. So yes, he's now Orange Southwest, I think, Orange Southeast superintendent up near his home. So he's only
I
15
don't
minutes
blame
from
him. That drive up and down the interstate must have got really boring.
Yes. So anyways, there's no date for radon testing according to our Director of Buildings and Grounds. So, Finance and Operations, Larry. So nothing yet.
And
from the
another,
state.
it's funny to have the conversation with one of our only lister now in town about the CLA. Our select board is not budging on a reappraisal. And I know. Talk to them. Insist that they do the reappraisal because it does, I was totally off base for years. It definitely affects the school tax. It doesn't affect the municipal tax because it balances out with the tax rate, but it absolutely, the way it's figured into that spreadsheet formula, it definitely affects the school tax.
I'd seen there was something affecting the grand list, and a facility that's right here, which got devalued by quite a bit, and so our income
We
came
should
out.
have anticipated that Velco would start depreciating all their equipment that they put in 8 years ago. And that's gonna continue. So traditionally, the budgets for the town anyway have anticipated, they went with a level grand list and it always ticked up a smidgen. And that was always a good thing. This year was a big surprise. It ticked down a smidgen. And actually it was a big smidgen to begin with. But I think there's two things. All these solar projects, except for the one here, which is not, isn't taxed, are, if they're on private property, they're taxed and they're going to be depreciated. So I think and I talked with Cavendish's town manager. I was curious. I don't know if anybody's ever driven off a Coolidge substation. That was probably put in 25 years ago. If they saw that effect, but the way I understand it, they're only allowed to depreciate to a certain level. It's not like in a business, you can take it right down to 10% of its value. And how far they can take it down and how quickly they take it down, I'm not an accountant, I can't answer that. But you can anticipate probably in Weathersfield, the grand list isn't going to grow and probably will tick down slowly. Not good news.
Okay. Well, thank you, John. We appreciate your stopping by. And I wish you the best of luck today.
Yeah.
Up next on our items for discussion is school safety. And I guess just if you have anything. to report
So
on that.
like I said in my lead learner report that we've been talking to Chief Daniels and Chief Spalding about school safety. We are going to, they were talking to me about how they used to do a joint meeting once a month with surrounding areas. So we're going to try to put that back in place so that we all are on the same page as far as what we're doing. We did talk about some of the procedures, the current procedures that they do if there is some type of incident. And I can explain a little bit more during the executive session about that with you guys. And we have a plan in place. We're reviewing our school safety plan. And that's one of our top items that we're going to be discussing on the first staff back day.
Do you know if BizFed has been contacted to do an audit of our?
I believe they have, but we'll double check on that again. So I think Christine's on that.
Does anyone else have anything to say about school safety? Move on then to athletics.
So that is up in the air. We had a couple people apply and we didn't hear back from them when we reached out to them. So, yeah, we've had some parents reach out to me willing to help out, but we can talk a little bit more about it and try to figure out a plan. Got some ideas, but I'm not sure yet.
And then the last item for discussion. Yes, sorry.
I've already spoken to Brian, so it's not a surprise, but,
This is Meredith, by the way.
Meredith, hi. Time is crunching for other districts for signups. So if we're being released other signups, we really should know sooner rather than later. Because our kids will miss out if there's no sports for fall in other districts, because I think they close soon.
So I guess that's something we need to decide.
I didn't really say that to you, but that's really like,
Yeah, that's
fair.
it's no surprise.
Nope, absolutely.
Okay, and then next is the PTO scholarship. Jackie, did you want to?
Sure. Why not?
I didn't even see it on here.
I know. How should I start? We did discuss
you and I had discussed possibly moving forward or switching out one of the scholarships or the scholarship that you support and fund for. We just kind of all feel that it's certainly a burden to have to come up with a specific dollar amount every year. And support that if that changes. As a board, we've kind of talked about some potential ideas of maybe it should be more of an award and one that the school can take on and give to an 8th grader as an award rather than a financial scholarship. Is that pretty accurate? So
Using
we would,
that name, sorry, using that particular name, state.
probably more encompassing even more principals, where we have more of a principal over.
That's great. Yeah, we felt the same as a group. We were in the middle of pandemic. And, yeah.
Yeah,
Solid.
it's certainly a lot to ask of you guys, when there's a need for the larger group rather than an individual need. So we
Thanks.
appreciate and thank you for supporting it throughout all these years.
Thank you for addressing it. And sounds
We
like a
haven't-
great
yeah.
way to move forward with it.
We appreciate that very much.
We haven't hammered out details on our end of what that'll look like, but you can remove it from your plate and add it out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, anyone have any questions about that? Comments? Up next, we have items for action, which I don't think we have any, do we?
Just the fundraising.
Oh, so we just want to approve fundraising? Okay, I wasn't sure if they needed our approval. So does anyone want to make a motion?
I don't know if we need it or not, but we have always presented it, right?
Always had.
Yeah.
Yeah, they present it, but we don't have to vote.
No, you have to.
Oh, we just, oh, okay.
We have to do a real fundraising that happens within.
Oh, okay. Okay, does someone want to make a motion to approve the PTO's plans as discussed earlier in the meeting? Jamie makes the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. That's it. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Bring forth a
Certainly a
lot
lot
of
of
joy.
We like each other.
We do.
Our group's great, but we will take newcomers. Come join the fun.
Yeah. It is fun.
We have,
So thank you for your support. It means a great deal to us.
we have,
Ask a clarifying question. So any fundraising the PTO wants to do, they can do it, or do they have to give you a list? And then
what they discussed today is fine.
Okay, so if there's anything new, they have to bring it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's what we agreed.
Yes, you said as
Yeah.
presented,
Yeah.
so yes, if there's anything new.
And then, we do have a need for executive session today, so, I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
We can set the agenda.
Oh, should we set the agenda first? Okay, yeah. We'll move that up. Over there. Okay, so our next meeting is September. It would be September 13th. Everybody good with that at 6:30? And, not sure what is on the agenda, I guess, do you have something for the agenda?
I'd like to add, I would like to actually take a school board walkthrough of the school. We've had a lot of changes and
Oh, that sounds cool.
I haven't walked this school in a little while and I'd like to see it.
I would like to show them. That's awesome. Thank you.
We can do like Facebook Live or something too. you know,
Yeah.
Sorry, I get excited about.
GoPro,
Yeah.
Brian wearing a GoPro around him.
Now, I was gonna say, I'm in the process of researching where we are with rights and money that was already expended for a production that didn't happen. So I will try and have some further details to present on that.
What should we call that?
drama club rights report. As in.
How about just drama club
drama
report?
club, yeah. So I'll see what I can find out as far as where we are with reclaiming those funds or reclaiming the rights. For now.
So not an agenda item, but since our next meeting will be after school has started, what is the school day hours look like for this next year?
From 8 o'clock or, yeah, 7:50 technically when kids arrive on campus. School starts at 8 o'clock and then 2:25 is dismissal.
Thank you. And are we still doing the, where you can only arrive 10 minutes before?
Yeah, and then kids, what they'll do is when they arrive, they'll go, instead of getting breakfast in their classrooms, they'll go right through the cafeteria line and it'll be a grab and go breakfast. And that way, if kids want it, it's there. And then they take it up to their classrooms and they've got a few minutes to eat. We do morning announcements and they go right into their morning meeting or advisory.
What's available as far as before school or after school care?
We do have the before school program still that we've talked about, right? The care, we're just trying to find somebody to manage it. And then after school pause still, right? Yeah. Yeah, as far as we, yeah. It'd still be limited in just because of staffing wise. So.
Could I just ask, I know we wanted to continue with having student involvement at the board meetings. Maybe we could have a couple, 3 students help us with the school walkthrough so we could ask them questions about their school.
Absolutely. I like that idea.
Maybe some different age groups.
Okay.
I guess we'll keep school safety on the list. And, let's see, from our radar list, I was wondering if maybe, we should form some kind of committee or something for mental health, like maybe get some teachers on it, talk about what would be helpful, some students on it, talk about what would be helpful. We can talk about that on your next
Okay.
meeting.
And I'll invite Melissa
Don't say you
Cole.
gotta have the committee ready by the next meeting.
Okay, all right, but I'll have Melissa Cole come because she would definitely be an integral part of that, so.
Yeah, anybody that you think would be interested in being involved.
Yeah. And she's welcome.
I was looking at this now, the VAPA, that's the arts.
Yeah, that, visual and performing arts.
What is CIA?
SIPME, Curriculum Instruction and
Oh,
Assessment.
okay.
So we get the CIA and the FBI,
Yeah.
which is Larry's finance and business information, finance, business and information.
Does anyone have anything else that needs to go on the agenda for next time? Yes, if you think of anything, like usually the week before the meeting is sort of the cutoff date.
That was
That should be an email.
sports update would be on here, right?
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Good, bad, or indifferent.
You're
It'll
making
be
me
there.
cringe there on that one.
It might be big, but.
Do we have a firm date where release is necessary?
No, I mean, I don't know, but I know other schools have opened registration, other towns have opened registration for the rec programs. I know Windsor, like junior high, middle school is open right now. I don't know when that closes. Because they have a added flag football program that we're enrolled in.
Right.
But I don't know if they're, because we don't have it here, so, yeah. But I don't know if there's like a set date, like statewide or full in town, but
Well, it would almost seem as though if they know our situation, they would accept our students a little bit late.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like
Have
Windsor is obviously gonna work with us.
a week or two.
You know, so we can, because I know we did talk to Brian Woodbury, who's involved with athletics at Windsor, and they're having problems too. There, just for the team. They at least have an athletic director. So, but they have a director.
is it possible to open registration just to open it and get numbers,
We could possibly do that.
and then
And just see where we're at. and
see where we're at. I don't, and maybe get on schedules. Is there stuff we can do without a director? Like, do the coaches get together and make the schedule? Like, is there a way to like throw Weathersfield's hat in the ring just in case we do have a program? Like, instead of missing out on the scheduling discussion? I don't know how it works. Clearly
Somebody
not,
was
because I
doing
didn't
it.
apply for the job.
Yeah.
so. But,
I'll find out.
okay. I don't know if there's like a big town meeting. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Recreation,
Okay.
they'll come just get together. I think sorry, get together. Just got the
Maybe
calendar.
just throw our name in the ring so we get on the schedules and then hope that somebody applies. I don't know.
I'm
Just-
just,
We refreshed the app, sorry.
yeah, I was just looking at Springfield's, just for example, soccer registrations close September 2nd because the season starts, that's for K-6, starts September 5th. And, Windsor Youth Soccer starts September 10th for K-4. It looks like, and let's see there. So I'm thinking their deadline is probably just before then or maybe up to then, I don't know.
By the end of the month,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so September 10th or September 7th for 5-6 soccer.
Okay, all right, so we're all set for the next agenda, I believe, and, I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
All motion to go into the executive session at 8:13.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's unanimous.
And I
Thank you,
will
everyone.
stop